it's still very early in the NHL season, but it's already been a roller coaster ride for the New Jersey Devils. Still, they're in the top half of the standings, which the fans love to see. Joining me now and making her first appearance on the show is our very own staff writer, LiaMarie Nuzzi. LiaMarie, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
Oh, it's our pleasure. So let's talk about this. We're only about 14 games into the season. What's your impression of the Devils so far?
So, just being 14 games in, I would say that they had a rough start, but I have no doubt that they can't make a deep playoff run. There's a lot of time left in the season, obviously, and I believe they're starting to climb up. They were at the top of the league. They hit a little snag. They dropped for a little bit, had some losses. They were away for a while. But in the NHL, it's obvious you're going to win, you're going to lose, any sport typically. And I really think they'll pick it back up.
Now, what are some of the things that separate the Devils from the rest of the NHL teams that can maybe give them an advantage over the course of the season?
Well, the Devils have a lot of young players, and they're great. They're fast, they're hardworking, they're smart, and they all work together. And I think that's an advantage, especially that they're so young. There's so much time to expand that franchise, and I just think they're really compatible together. They all come from similar places as well. I mean, you have a lot coming from like Switzerland, and you have a lot coming from the University of Michigan. So they've all, in somewhat, have played together.
Now, speaking of some of those young players, who have been the standout players so far this year?
Well, Captain Nico Hischier, obviously, he's had a significant impact this season. He was the first player in the NHL to reach 10 goals, and he was also the first in the league for a while. And then he recently tied with Cole Caulfield from the Montreal Canadiens. He's been on fire, and as it like coming to be his fourth year as captain, he fulfills that role every time. Also, Paul Cotter, we received him from the Golden Knights, and I mean, he's played all 14 games and he's scored 6 goals and he's put in 2 assists. So I think that's something that he's he's just really showing up. Same with Timo Meyer and Jesper Bratt.
Now, how different does the team's roster look this year compared to last year? Who were some of the key acquisitions and some of the key losses?
So I think I would have to say there hasn't been too many losses. Besides, I know a lot of the Devils fans miss Akira Schmid, but our roster has changed a lot. The Devils acquired 2 new goalies, Jacob Markstrom and Jake Allen, and I have to say that I think that was a really good decision given the disappointing goaltending last season. And like I said, we also acquired Paul Cotter, which I think he was he's definitely a key to the team. So
Now, what's your take on head coach Sheldon Keefe in his first year with the team?
um, I think the Devils are really excited to have him. And my take on it, I think he's going to really be able to build back the Devils. He had an amazing season with the Toronto Maple Leafs in the 2021-2022 season, and it was impressive. I mean, he brought them up, they were fired up, and he has really good advantages for teams making the playoffs, and I think that's something the Devils need, and I think he can bring that potential.
It will certainly help their chances. Now, you spoke about the young
Right.
players. Do you think that the Devils should bring any AHL players back up to help their chances?
I think so. Maybe not right now, but I think at some point in time they should bring back Seamus Casey. He had an amazing start to the season, and I really think he brought together the team. I mean, playing with Luke Hughes previously at Michigan, they have some kind of connection, and I think that'll be inevitable for the team.
And LiaMarie, last question. The Devils are finishing up their road trip in Edmonton tonight against the Oilers. Do you have any predictions there?
I do. I really think that the Devils will take the win, and I say this because I mean the statistics between both teams are very similar. The Oilers are 6-5-1, and the Devils are 7-5-2. So there's not much of a difference. But last year the Oilers beat the Devils, so I think the Devils are going to want to have some victory this year, and I think they'll pull it off.
Awesome prediction. Our very own LiaMarie Nuzzi, thanks so much for taking the time this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Head over to ONNJ.com for the latest news and sports anytime.